Okay, we're trying one more time with Amanda Lauer and her book, A World Such as Heaven Intended, and as you were saying, this is going to be part of a trilogy.
Yes, actually, the first book came out in 2014. The sequel, which is A Life Such as Heaven Intended, comes out November 1st of this year, and then next year will be the third part in the series.
And you were telling me a little bit about the background of the book. It came from a story in your family. Was it your family or a friend's family?
No, it was a friend of mine. He had a great-great-uncle who served in the Civil War, and he had a very interesting story that I had never heard before, and I thought people would find this an interesting story. That's how it became a book. So basically, he was from the northern United States, and when he turned 18, him and a buddy went down to Texas and purchased land, which was very inexpensive at the time. This is in 1859, and when the war broke out in 1861, Texas sided with the Southern Army, the southern side of the conflict, and they did not enlist in the Army, but rather they were supplying beef to the Confederate troops. And by 1864, they needed more than just the beef. They actually needed men more than that, and so they were conscripted against their will, and they were actually sent to a troop with the state of Tennessee because they had lost so many men from an outbreak of measles, so they were replacing the men in that particular unit, so that's where him and his buddy were sent. But their basic goal in life was to escape from the Southern Army and get to the side of the North, because not only did their allegiance lie with the North, but also Nathan's younger brothers were fighting for the North. He didn't want to be fighting against his own brothers.
And unfortunately, Cupid gets in the way, so to speak.
Yeah, that's true. So he ends up getting injured. He is hospitalized at a hospital in Atlanta, and he kind of falls in love with the gal who's taking care of him, with the nurse, and she has no idea where his allegiance lies, and she kind of falls for him, and things get very complicated because it would be completely forbidden for them to have any relationship. And he thought he'd never see her again, but fate brings them back together in a kind of interesting way, and they end up having a journey across the U.S. back to Texas together. And it's a very interesting story. I think people will really enjoy it, especially if you love wholesome, good romance story. But the story is told in an interesting way, where every other chapter is in Nathan's head or Amara's head. So guys seem to like this book as well as women do, because you get to hear his perspective of all the battles he went through and what he was going through, the battle in his own heart. And then you hear Amara's perspective of what she's going through, and how the things that she thought were true about even the cause that they were fighting for, she comes to question the things that she had been brought up to believe.
Now, you talked a little bit about the fact that this was your first book of fiction, and because you had written factual-based books before. How hard was it to write fiction when you had written nonfiction in the past?
Yeah, actually I'm a journalist, so I write nonfiction pretty much every week for the 2 newspapers that I work for. Because I'm an avid reader, I love to read. I've read countless books in my life. It wasn't really that difficult per se, but when it actually came down to the final thing, okay, I'm going to start a book, I'm going to write a book, I actually had to go and open some books and look and go, how do they say he said, she said? Whose heads are they in? You know, all that stuff, because you don't really think of that when you're reading. You just read it and enjoy a book. So it was kind of a lesson to learn from that. But I did have some perspective just because I write a lot. I interview a lot of people for work, so I'm used to that kind of,
And where can we find this book?
Good question. You can either order it directly from my publisher, which is fullquiverpublishing@gmail.com, or you can order it from Amazon.com. You can get the Kindle version or the paperback, and also it is available on BarnesandNoble.com in the paperback and their e-version too.
Hey, Amanda Lauer, thank you so much for your time. The book is A World Such as Heaven Intended, and there's a lot more coming, so keep your eye out for it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, that's time. Everything worked.